From the time that I was a child, I was always kind of afraid of just about everything. I was always just a nervous, intense person generally. My uncle used to, when he would visit, he would hide in random places throughout the house to scare me and my brother, to kind of jump out and startle us. And whenever that would happen, we kind of sensed something was up whenever we didn't see him for a few minutes. And then we would go kind of searching the house for him. And I would always put my brother in front of me as like a human shield and make him go first down the hallway or make him go first into a room. And I was always a bit of a coward, I guess you could say. As I grew up, I was always the one to, if something, haphazard were to happen, it would probably have ended up happening to me. And maybe that's a sort of self-fulfilling prophecy, but I was always getting hurt in one way or the other. And it's not because I took big risks, but just because whenever I would try something, generally I'm a pretty clumsy guy, I would get injured in some way. So I've broken noses and arms. And when I was a teenager, I broke a tendon in my thumb when I was trying to do something that I definitely should not have been trying to do. And I always had problems with my body. I wore braces and I had headgear. So it was this contraption I would wear around my face whenever I would sleep, and it would try to realign my teeth. I always had problems with my teeth. My vision is poor. So a lot of my early life, I just grew up kind of imagining the threats out in the world. And so there was a lot of tension that built up over time with that. Now, I try to be brave in a lot of different aspects of my life, but risk always made me feel really uncomfortable. As an adult, I was always trying to avoid risks in one way or shape or another. I was especially risk to any physical injury. And so I just tend not to do a lot of stuff that I think might be risky. And that usually involves stuff that is physical, sports, or just any kind of recreation activity where there might be some sort of injury, because again, self-fulfilling prophecy, I would probably end up getting injured in some way, shape, or form. My partner, lucky for me, is completely opposite. So she is, I wouldn't say a high risk taker, but she really does enjoy taking risks every now and then. And she especially enjoys challenging herself physically. She's very adventurous. So one time we were in Hawaii, and she wanted to go on a tour to swim with dolphins. So they put you on a boat, the boat goes out to sea, they find the dolphins, and then you get in the water with the dolphins. And of course, every aspect of that kind of filled me with tension and fear in some regard or another. For most people, this would be kind of a dream. I mean, being able to swim with dolphins in the middle of the Pacific in a beautiful island, that's kind of what a lot of people think of as amazing. Again, for me, it was kind of, my brain said, water, that's dangerous. Boats, that's also dangerous. Wild animals, oh my gosh, that's very dangerous as well. And of course, that's not to mention just the everyday sort of thing, like being exposed to sun. Sun to me is danger. Sun is skin cancer. And of course, swimming, I'm not the best swimmer in the world, so that's a dangerous activity for me. And of course, there's the risk of having a boat captain or a guide on these vessels that might, not have your safety in their best, in their front of their heads. But I adore my partner. And so I went with her and I kind of sucked it up and I said, I'm going to be brave and I'm going to make this happen so that she can enjoy herself and really having a good experience. So we're out on the boat, we're in the middle of the water, and the guide spots some dolphins out. And so we head over there, and the person that's sitting, the instructor on the back of the boat, tells us all, get out on the edge of the boat, on the very, very back of it, and stick your legs in the water, hold your legs out straight with your flippers on, put your mask on, put your snorkel in. And then she gave us all the signal, go in the water now, 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 now. So I jump in the water, I immediately start to hyperventilate, and I'm just trying to breathe and trying to keep myself calm. And I'm looking around and everybody is about 100 meters away, including my partner. And so I'm trying to figure out this snorkel thing. And so I'm plunging my face into the water and I'm breathing heavily. And it's not, for whatever reason, it just doesn't seem to be clicking. And my partner bless her, came to rescue me in my moment of crisis. And she swam over to me and she checked in and she said, "Are you okay? Is everything okay?" And I, in a very terrified voice told her, "Yes, I think I'm going to be okay." And so I sat and I just tried to kind of calm my breath, and she kind of stayed with me and she said, "Do you want me to get the guide? Do you want me to get the instructor?" I said, "No, I think I'm okay. We'll figure it out." And so I eventually brought my breathing under control, and eventually I figured out how to do the whole snorkeling thing, and I plunged my face back into the water, and I got to see the dolphins. So I got to swim with them, and it was very nice. It was entertaining. I won't say that it's something I would want to do all the time, and certainly there are plenty of YouTube videos that you could watch that are going to give you maybe not an equivalent experience, but certainly a safer experience, one where hyperventilation is not at risk. So this has been the story of my life, is these sort of experiences. I have one where when my wife and I were in China and we were walking a lot every day, I thought that I had a hairline fracture in my foot. Turns out I was just tying my shoes too tightly. We were recently in Ireland, and we were walking along a path, and there was a sheep that came out of nowhere. And of course I made her go in front of me just in case the sheep did anything crazy. It was a sheep, so obviously it didn't. There was a time that I closed my thumb in a door, and I went to the emergency room because I thought it was broken, and of course it was definitely not. And these stories are funny and they're kind of fun to talk about, but there's a really important message at the heart of it, and that's the takeaway. It's okay to be afraid. Totally cool to be fearful. It's okay to not do things that everybody else wants to do or likes doing or, kind of feels is quote unquote normal. Maybe you're like me. Maybe you're just a comfy kind of person and you like to be indoors and you like to be in the libraries and you don't necessarily need to go out and do every adventure that comes across your plate. Own that space. Take possession of it and say, "Hey, look, this is me. I am okay with being that person." It's also really good to challenge yourself every once in a while, and it shouldn't be a complete anxiety-filled experience, but to push yourself out of your comfort zone every now and then. As my mom would tell me, it builds character. And so if you go see dolphins, don't hyperventilate. Take your breathing, make sure it's under control, and don't forget to wear sunscreen.